This is Chris Kelly with Step 2 of your Stomach Crunch Rehabilitation Program. Now, the number one error that I see with crunches is people have no clue what they're doing when they're performing this exercise. We see fast, jerky movements, use of the hip flexors, and really no attempt to initiate the abdominals when that is the area that we're targeting. Two of the main things that are kind of the key to this exercise are slow and controlled movement and maintaining an abdominal contraction throughout the exercise. If you're not doing that, you really are just working on other areas that are not associated with what we're trying to strengthen here. So in order to do so, we utilize a three-step progression to help to teach this abdominal contraction and slow and controlled movement. All right, our first exercise comes to us from a guy named Stuart McGill, very smart individual, and he invented this thing called the McGill crunch. All right, what the McGill crunch does is teach us just how to flex from the upper back, which is kind of more built for flexion, versus the lower back, which is kind of what we're looking to avoid, and the hips. All right, in order to kind of minimize the hips, what we're going to do is just bend one knee. Okay, so we're putting one hip flexor on slack here, and I'm just placing my hands under my low back here. My elbows are on the floor. I'm trying to initiate just a slight abdominal contraction. So I'm pressing my low back just slightly into my hands. I'm feeling my abs tighten here. All right, once that's the case, I want you to push the tongue to the roof of your mouth, raise the elbows off the floor, and just raise the head slightly. All right, I want you to press your back into your hands at the same time. You'll feel an abdominal contraction here, and just hold here for 10 seconds and come back down. Once again, if you feel this in your neck or in the front of your in the front of your neck here, I want you to press your tongue into the roof of your mouth and just kind of tuck the chin in just a little bit. Hold. Elbows off the ground, just raising the chest up slightly and coming back down. With this, we're performing 10-second isometric holds. We're kind of getting the abdominal brace, and we're training the correct way to move from the chest as opposed to the lower back, and keep this abdominal contraction going on. Once you're able to do that, once you're able to do maybe 5 to 6 10-second holds where you're consistently able to maintain this contraction, all right, what we can do is move into what is called a half get up. All right, and with a half get up, we're staying in this position with the knee bent, with one leg straight, but we're going to incorporate a little bit more movement. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm raising my hand up into the ceiling. All right, I'm initiating this abdominal brace. I'm pressing my back slightly into the floor. I'm trying to keep my hand on this spot in the ceiling. I'm rotating onto my elbow, and I'm just sitting straight up and grabbing that spot. I'm coming back down. All right, once again, because my knee is bent, we're taking the hip flexors really more out of the equation, and I'm contracting the oblique on the side of the arm that is bent here as I rotate onto that side to keep my hand on that spot. I'm moving very slowly here. I'm giving it a 2 to 3 count on the way up, a 2 to 3 count on the way down. I'm pausing at the top, and I'm pausing at the bottom. And really what I'm feeling is the more I do that, the more I feel the contraction here in my abdominals, the more I feel this working, and you're really going to get a nice contraction here in the side oblique. So I want you to think about maintaining that abdominal brace, and really contracting as you're moving up, and exhaling as well. So just blowing out, that'll help to facilitate the abs as you're coming up, and just moving back down slowly. Now for the final step in our progression, we're going to move to a straight leg sit-up. All right, this is a very advanced exercise, and I really want you to work on the two prior progressions before you move to this third step. Okay, but what we're doing here, I'm pressing my back into the floor, keeping my abs tight. Slight pressure here into the floor, not an excessive press, but just enough to where I keep this going on my abs, and I'm performing what is called a straight leg sit-up. All right, I'm flexing my toes back towards me here, and I'm moving very slowly, trying to keep my feet on the ground. All right, if you find that you're bouncing at all on the way up, that's an indication that the hip flexors are engaging. So we really want to move slowly, move with control, keeping the abs tight. Pausing at the top, and coming back down. Now, to kind of summarize the way this works is, what I want for the McGill crunch is maybe start out with 2 to 3 abdominal contractions for 10 seconds at the top and come back down. Perform 2 to 3 sets of that, and add 1 to 2 contractions per week. So if you do 3 10-second holds in week 1, in week 2 you would maybe do 4 or 5. Once you get to week 3, you can do 6 to 7, then you would move to the half get up. All right, for the half get up, we begin with anywhere from 6 to 8 reps. With this, we move until we find, you begin to bounce off the floor and compensate, and then we shut the exercise down. But the objective over maybe 3 to 4 weeks is to add 2 to 3 reps per week. Once you're able to do that, the final progression would be the straight leg sit up. Again, move with good form, move slowly, keep that abdominal contraction going on. When you find yourself compensating or unable to do those two things, shut the exercise down, and that's your sit-up progression.